Welcome. As always, this programme is live. As always, there's a chance you'll see something you recognise and maybe you can help to solve a crime.
Some of Britain's top detectives are gathered here in the Crimewatch studio and they're waiting for your call. There are 40 direct phone lines, but they all have the same number, 01811 8055. In the next 40 minutes, you'll see the meticulous reconstruction of the murder of a jeweller in North London.
And the movements across Britain of a gang who've been passing stolen bank drafts. And from Tyneside, football star Peter Beardsley is lending a hand to a pioneering crime prevention project that may set the trend for all of us.
Since last month's Crimewatch, there have been 8 arrests, 5 of them as a direct result of viewers' information, and police are continuing to investigate other leads. We reconstructed a raid on a security van delivering cash to Surrey University in Guildford.
Right, don't move it on my down! Get up there! You! Get that money down!
That red getaway car, a Renault Fuego, had been stolen on Tuesday, April the 7th. That was 1 week before the raid. And we asked if anybody had seen it in those intervening 7 days. Well, one of our viewers had. Her hobby, luckily, is collecting car numbers, and she told us that on 2 evenings, the car had been in Tilgate Forest car park in Crawley. If you were there, or if you saw this car during the 2nd week of April, please ring us.
We appealed for information about Malcolm Thomas Fox, you may remember. Several callers rang in with new information about him, and on Tuesday morning, Mr. Fox walked into a police station in Preston in Lancashire, along with his solicitor. He has now been charged with armed robbery.
Police are also following new lines of inquiry in Sheffield after our report about a sexual attack on a housewife who was selling her house in the Woodseats district area there. At the time, she was 8 months pregnant. Several viewers rang Crimewatch to say that they too had been approached by a similar suspicious caller, and detectives believe the same man was involved in other incidents. One thing we are glad to report, the woman gave birth to a healthy baby boy 2 weeks ago.
Last month we showed security videos which were taken during attacks on off-licences, which were part of a series of robberies in the Liverpool area. Thanks to information from Crimewatch viewers, police have now arrested 3 men and inquiries are continuing.
And we showed you another video of a robber at a building society in East London. A caller who'd seen the programme put a name to him, and following further information, police discovered that he was about to strike again. He was arrested and charged with armed robbery.
You may remember this, a hippo, a stuffed one. He and 3 friends had been stolen from stores in London, Derby and Epsom. As a result of the programme, it emerged that a 5th one had gone missing. Thanks to a call from a viewer who spotted him in the back of a pickup truck, police arrested a young man who has now been cautioned, and the hippo has been returned to his rightful owner. Others, though, are still at large.
Our first case tonight is a very sad one. Christopher Cumley, a jeweller, was in the process of closing down his small shop in Stoke Newington in North London. He was going to leave the jewellery business for good and move away to the country with his wife and 3 young children. On the morning of Wednesday the 17th of June, with just 2 days more of trading left, he was murdered, shot by 2 robbers for the sake of a few gold chains. His dog Sasha was shot as well. In our reconstruction, Mrs. Cumley talks about the plans they'd had and the events of that day. And I should say that a specialist theatrical agency provided the dog to play Sasha's part. The date, again, is Wednesday the 17th of June. Christopher Cumley lived in Walthamstow in north-east London, and his shop was in North Wold Road in neighbouring Stoke Newington.
I started the business 4.5 years ago, and we had high hopes. But during the course of that time, we had quite a few problems. It started with somebody snatching a bag from outside the shop. About a year later, somebody hit him over the head with a bar. Then, 2.5 years ago, he was subjected to an armed robbery. They held one of the customers hostage.
But let her go.
Shut up! I think we felt that we'd had our fair share of trouble, so we would press on to the end of the lease. But we decided not to renew. There was no way we were going to stay there. And we had decided to move out of London, to take the children and live out in the country. And we were within just a couple of weeks of closing the shop when this happened.
Wednesday morning, June the 17th, Mr. Cumley was getting ready to go to work as usual.
Come on, Sasha. Come on. Just off, dear. Bye.
Oh, okay, dear, bye.
And you kids, piano practice.
Okay, Dad.
Okay, Dad.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye. Come on. Come on. That's you. Oh, here's my bus. Bye.
Mr. Cumley always took his dog, Sasha, with him.
We got Sasha from the RSPCA after the armed robbery. We felt that we wanted a guard dog. But we also had to have an animal that would fit in well with our family. We have 3 young children. And the RSPCA had this dog in care, and they thought that she would be suitable.
Come on, now. Come on, Sassy. There's got to be a stick here for you somewhere.
She was devoted to all of us, but particularly to Chris. There was a particular bond between them.
Good girl. Come on. Come on, Sassy.
And if he went out in the evening, she'd lie down by the front door and wait for him to come home. And
Sasha.
sort of tell him off when he came in. There'd be a conversation between them.
Northwold Road at 9:15. At this time in the morning, there's always a long queue at the bus stop outside Mr. Cumley's shop. The hairdresser next door was already at work.
Yes, I think I do.
The previous attacks had made Mr. Cumley understandably security conscious. A keen musician himself, Mr. Cumley liked to listen to classical music while he got ready to open the shop. His first job of the morning was to put out his stock.
Shampoo inserts. When for? Thursday. We can fit you in Thursday morning at 10 o'clock.
With only a few days to go before closing down, Mr. Cumley didn't have much stock left.
Hold on. Hold on. Push. Morning. What would you be interested in? Will you shut the door, please? Sasha! What the... Get back! Sasha! You...
The 2 men ran off in opposite directions. Sasha was badly wounded, but chased after one of them. Half a mile away from the shop, Sasha had given up the chase. She was found dying later that morning.
About 12:10, I was going out shopping, so I decided to phone Christopher and find out if he wanted anything. I let the phone ring for some time, but I assumed that he must be serving a customer, and he wasn't able to answer, so I left it.
Well, Roger Stoodley is in charge of the case. The difficult thing to understand, really, is why he was murdered.
Yes, that's right. Though it's clear that this is a reconstruction, obviously from the evidence we have, there was a tremendous struggle took place inside the shop. And it may be that he did try and prevent the robbery and was shot in the course of that.
What was the gun they used?
The gun they used is one similar to this. It's a .455 revolver. It's one that's used in the First World War, and because they're old, they're getting quite rare now.
Right, and you can tell that from the ammunition you found?
Yes, from the evidence we know it's a .455 revolver type weapon. Yes.
Perhaps somebody might recognise that. What descriptions do you have of the two men?
We have a video fit of one who was described as between 30 and 35 years old, 6 foot tall. As can be seen, he was black. He was wearing a black bomber jacket, tight black trousers with a distinctive white, what appeared to be a chalk mark on the left leg. The second one was shorter, about 5'9", aged about 25. Also black, his hair was longer, described as wiry, and he was wearing a blue tracksuit top with white piping on the sleeve and white, possibly trainer shoes.
Right. Now, Sasha the dog followed the taller of those two, the one we had the video fit of. If we could just punch up our micro map, we can see the route she actually took. There's the shop there, and the two men ran out and off in opposite directions. And the dog followed the taller one.
That's right. The dog followed the taller one towards the high street.
Right. And then the dog was found dying half a mile away in Leabridge Road.
Yes.
That means that they took a rather strange getaway route, if it was the getaway route.
Yes, it did. We're not certain of the exact route it took. We know it went into one small turning on the junction of the high street, but after that, we're not clear where it went, and it may be that it was following the first suspect.
Right. So what you obviously need is for somebody to come forward who saw either of those two men running away from the scene on that day.
Yes, we do.
And there must have been quite a lot of people in Northwold Road.
Yes, there was a bus stop, as can be seen, right outside the shop, and at that time of the morning there are usually 40 or 50 people waiting for various buses at that point, and of the large number of people we believe were there, only a very small handful have come forward with any information.
Remember, it was Wednesday the 17th of June. You have had some information as a result of some publicity leading up to this programme?
Yes, certainly we have. Yes, 2 days ago, as a result of the trailer for this programme, a witness came forward who saw the second suspect running up a road just to the left of the shop, and we've confirmed that that is identical to the description of the second suspect.
Right, well, let's hope somebody can add to that, Mr. Soodley. Thank you very much. And if you do know anything you think which might help to find these two murderers, please phone us here on 01811 8055, or you can ring the incident room direct, and that is 01488 5212. That's 01488 5212.
Now to Incident Desk, where we invite the police to appeal to you directly about cases across the country, from a sex attack on Merseyside to the Yorkshire couple who've conned their way across the North and Midlands, and from a museum in London, the theft of precious model steam engines. Here are Superintendent David Hatcher and Constable Helen Phelps.
First, that armed raid on a strong room opposite Harrods in London last Sunday. When it opened in 1983, the Safe Deposit Centre was hailed as the ultimate in high security, with vast steel doors and computer-coded entry systems. But at 3 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, two men in city suits found a way through all this gadgetry. They produced guns, handcuffed the guards, and helped themselves to just about as much as they could carry. The guards have helped us produce photo fits off the two. This one is middle-aged, 5'8", slim and weather-beaten. The other, 30 to 35, 5'6" to 5'8", and well-built. A third man, who may have been a lookout, is in his late 40s with collar-length hair. And one of them left behind these glasses. And this bag is thought to be very similar to the ones they used to carry away the valuables. Although 113 strong boxes were ransacked, so far only 49 victims have come forward. We've just received the first photographs of some of the missing valuables. A gold and diamond jewellery set, a 22-carat gold locket with Arabic calligraphy, and a basket-design pendant with red and green onyx and diamonds. If you've got a clue about any of these men or about the jewellery, contact us now. A substantial reward is being offered.
Next, we need you to help us find David and Maureen Tyson, who we'd like to talk to about the disappearance of over £100,000 worth of goods all over the country and even in Spain. These are just some of the goods that have been taken in the last 3 years. Their method is to steal checkbooks and buy or hire goods with them. Our colleagues in Spain also want to speak to them about a missing hire car from Alicante. Tyson is 40, 6 foot, stocky and walks with a slight limp in his left leg. Maureen is 29, 5'5" and plump. She also operates alone, and we know they're both extremely plausible. Ring us if you know where they are.
And now a particularly nasty rape which took place in Liverpool on the 27th of May. Around 10 that morning, a young woman, 8.5 months pregnant, was walking her dog in a park in the Otterspool area of the city when she was attacked and raped by a man wielding a screwdriver like this one. Despite the ordeal, she was able to complete this video fit of the man. He was about 5'8" with brown hair and in need of a shave, and he had a local accent. Now, he told the woman that his girlfriend, who was also pregnant, had walked out on him and had broken her nose. This could be the best clue we have to his identity. So if you know him or his girlfriend, ring us. This Tuesday, another woman was attacked just a mile from Otterspool Park. Someone came to her rescue and the attacker ran off. We think he could be the same man. His description is very similar and he may have crooked yellow teeth. Ring us if you know him.
Remember last month we showed you a reconstruction of a robbery in Essex? 3 men posing as police officers took their way into an elderly couple's home.
We're from Scotland Yard and we're investigating a series of jewellery thefts.
They got away with £30,000 cash and antiques. We now believe that this is linked to possibly dozens of other robberies across the southeast by an organised team of 20 or more men. In the most recent case, on the 16th of June, 2 men, again posing as police, got away with £97,000 worth of travellers' cheques from a house in this street, Catherine Road, Forest Gate in East London. The leader was about 45 to 50, 5'8", with greying brown hair. His accomplice was younger, about 35, 6 foot and well built. The cheques reappeared a week later in Amsterdam. £22,000 worth was successfully cashed around the town until one efficient cashier decided to verify the cheque serial numbers. At this point, the man took off, leaving behind this passport. It's a false one, bearing the name Sam Anderson. But we're sure this is a genuine photograph of the man. Take a close look at him. And this is the cheque he left behind. If you think you recognise any of these men or this handwriting, ring us now.
Finally, we'd like you to help us with a bit of train spotting, and I don't mean intercity 125s. Just take a look at this. 11 beautiful working models like these have been stolen from the London Toy Model Museum in Paddington. The museum has a magnificent railway collection seen by 80,000 visitors every year. Sometime between Sunday evening, June the 21st, and first thing on Tuesday the 23rd, thieves climbed into the museum garden, broke into a storage shed and made off with 11 different models worth about £5,000. Amongst them was a King Richard I engine, similar to this one, but dark green and lined with black and orange. Another looked like this, a London and North Western engine, only red with black panelling. And this is a photograph of the most valuable of the stolen engines, a Gauge 1 Johnson spinner. Alone, it's worth £2,000. If you've spotted any of these under suspicious circumstances or been offered any at a cut-down price, we'd like to hear from you. There is a £500 reward.
And the number to ring, as always, if you can help with any of those incident desk cases, is 01811 8055. That's 01811 8055.
I might say we've just received, while we've been on the air, some more details about that big raid on the Safe Deposit Centre in Knightsbridge in London. We have got from chartered loss adjusters some pictures. If we've got those pictures, we'll bring them to you later in the... In fact, we've got them right now. There you can see, this is a ram's head. It's a unique piece, so far as we're aware, and some earrings, which are diamond and sapphire. Again, unique pieces, and anybody in the trade should be able to recognise those instantly. Now, helping solve crimes is all very well, but what about preventing crime? Crime prevention is going to become an increasingly important issue in the coming months, placing more emphasis on the community. For example, in January, you'll be seeing a new government advertising campaign pushing a rather different approach to crime prevention. The latest Home Office thinking, in fact, is to draw together architects, teachers, business people, probation officers and local residents to tackle crime in their area. For over a year now, pilot schemes have been running in 5 towns. To see the shape of things to come for all of us, take a look now at one of those experiments on Tyneside. This is Killingworth Towers, the sort of building that's come to epitomise urban decay. It was put up in 1970, and after just 17 years, it's about to be demolished. The planner who supervised the Swedish design, bought off the shelf, is unrepentant. It's people who make slums, he said this week, not buildings. This shopping precinct has been repeatedly vandalised, and the shops have been broken into by local youths. The precinct is well away from any flats and it's partially covered, so no one who works there or lives nearby can keep an eye on it after the shops have shut. The planner's idea to house a caretaker on each level of the towers was never implemented. Gradually, Killingworth's most prestigious public housing became vandalised and frightening. Someone said wryly, even the Alsatians here go round in pairs. A chief inspector is coordinating a working party, 15 key local people experimenting with ways to prevent crime here.
Essentially, it's a new approach to crime reduction, one that involves getting people working in the community to consider crime when they're going about their everyday job. I'm thinking here of people, for example, like architects and planners, getting them to think about what they can do to reduce crime in their community.
He sought the views of local youngsters.
Well, we've got the results of that survey that you did.
A survey showed strikingly that they're not just the cause of much of the crime, they too are victims here, just as frightened of bullying and violence in the streets as are older people. Women who were found by surveys to be afraid of physical assault were invited to self-defence classes run by a local policeman. The course had 70 applicants and was oversubscribed.
And Beardsley again, and Beardsley still. Oh, magnificent! What a great goal by Peter Beardsley!
This week, local hero Peter Beardsley became Britain's most expensive footballer. He was born on this estate and he's been recruited to the campaign to lend his name and his picture to crime prevention leaflets so they're not thrown away unread by local residents.
Yeah.
It's got a flimsy back door that isn't in any way burglar-proof, easily pushed in by a young kid, really. In addition to that, you've got those windows next to the door, which are dead easy to get into. On the other hand, you've got...
The truth is the core of crime prevention here is local involvement through neighbourhood watch schemes and a newsletter. This is the North Tyneside Crime Prevention Initiative. It gives local crime statistics, and violent crime actually turns out to be rarer than some residents fear it to be. But there are practical measures too. The council has strengthened doors and locks with the help of a government grant. It's created gardens and erected fences so that people have more privacy. Built over balconies that had once been literally open to burglary. And given residents a sense of defensible space.
If you look at the old flats and you look at these with their gardens and, you know, fencing and the comps and what have you, they've got their privacy, haven't they? Which they didn't have before.
We had locks fitted by the council on all the windows, back door, front door, chains, chubb locks, mortise lock, which have made me feel extremely safe now.
Well, I think it's promoted a spirit of good neighbourliness, and that can't be bad, can it?
It certainly can't. Crime is said to have fallen by 1/5 at Long Benton, but that may be because criminals know these estates are getting special attention. And part of the scheme has cost a lot of money. £200,000 from the Department of Environment went on the physical improvements like new doors, better balconies and fences, but that only covered 100 homes. The brief from the Home Office stressed the need to raise money from the private sector locally.
The reservations I have mainly revolve around funding and the problems we've had over funding both from, on occasion, central government and from private sponsorship. An example, for example, of private sponsorship is the approach I made to the big four banks to fund a £3,000 post for a year, and their response was to send me a £50 cheque each.
Funding is a real obstacle, and it's not clear which measures are cost-effective. But fear of crime has already dropped considerably, and that's a victory in itself.
Well, the Home Office told us today that they're hoping to extend projects like these to other areas, although they haven't as yet decided exactly where. We'd like to hear from you about your experiences as these kind of schemes get going. Do you think they should be funded by public or private money? Or do you think they really can reduce crime? If you let us know what happens in your area, then we're back in the autumn and perhaps we can take a serious look at the national debate on ways of reducing crime and how you see schemes like this developing in practice.
Now to Photo Call. Pictures of people you may know or indeed might have seen. All are wanted by the police. Here again are Helen Phelps and David Hatcher.
We'd like to identify these two men in the foreground. We believe they're part of a team operating in the north and east of England who've been visiting video hire shops and obtaining membership using forged or stolen documents. Each man hires a number of videotapes, mostly new releases, for one night only, but doesn't return them. So far, we believe they've obtained £25,000 worth of videotapes. In this case, they didn't steal anything because we think they noticed the security camera. Both men are heavily built with beer bellies, and the one on the left is described as 25 to 30, 6 foot tall with brown hair, a moustache and a fresh complexion. His accomplice is approximately 5'10", in his late 40s or early 50s, balding with grey hair and has a faint Liverpool accent. If you know these men, please ring us.
And next, you recognise this face. His name is William James Day, although he sometimes uses Billy Cook. We'd like to speak to him about a series of frauds against the DHSS, which has lost them £500,000. We think there may be a team who've been using stolen or counterfeit pension and allowance books since 1985 to amass this huge sum. Day used to live in the Limehouse area of London, but he's known to travel extensively. So look at him again. He's aged 38 and is about 5'9" tall. If you've seen him, call us now.
Now see if you recognise a man and a woman who may have aided and abetted shoplifters in Barrett's department store in St Neots, Cambridgeshire. Here's the man wandering around the shop while his accomplice, a woman in light-coloured shorts, distracts the shop assistant's attention. Meanwhile, their accomplices stole almost £15,000 worth of jewellery. It was 4:30 on Saturday afternoon, the 30th of May. When the thieves left with their haul from the jewellery counter, they left too. Ring us if you know who they are.
Finally, the faces of the same rapist who struck twice at this hotel near the Elephant and Castle in South London. His most recent victim, who was attacked as she went to her room in the early hours of June the 7th, has helped compile this photo fit. But his first victim was a German woman, and our colleagues in Germany, with the help of the latest computer video technology, have produced this remarkable picture according to her description. It's described as short, 5'3" to 5'5", with gingery mousy hair, aged between 20 and 24. Ring us if you recognise him or any of the other photo call faces.
And here's the number if there's anyone you recognise there. It's 01811 8055. That's 01811 8055.
This is a banker's draft. Now, it looks a bit like a cheque, but while a cheque is written out by you yourself and promises that you will settle your debt, a banker's draft is written out by the bank and promises that the bank will settle the debt. What's more, these can't be stopped. In other words, they're as good as money, at least in theory. In early March, a batch of drafts from the Standard Chartered Bank went missing en route from their printers in Malaysia to the bank's Istanbul branch via Heathrow. On the stopover at Heathrow, the bank drafts would have gone into the British Airways cargo hangar. 3 days later, the airline discovered that the drafts were missing. 400 of them. 8 drafts have so far surfaced, the first in the north of England. This house contains the office of a gold bullion dealer.
Hello? Hello, my name is Dukes. I wonder if you can help me. I'm interested in buying some Krugerrands, about £50,000 worth, and I'd like them today. Today? It's impossible. Well, the thing is, I've been advised by my accountant that Fridays is the best day to buy gold. And I really wanted some today.
Well, I've got a suggestion that might help you. I happen to have 4 1-kilogram bars of gold that I could let you have today.
Oh, really? And how much would that be?
Well, the striking price of gold at the moment is £260 per ounce.
To the dealer, this sort of request was nothing unusual, and since his caller seemed to know what he was talking about, there was no cause for suspicion.
Look, I'm staying at the Cumberland Hotel.
They struck a deal which included a further order for some Krugerrands to be supplied after the weekend. The following morning, Saturday, March the 21st, at 10:30.
Oh, Mr. Jukes. Nice to meet you.
Well, actually, I'm a friend of Mr. Jukes. He's asked me to come here to pick up the gold bars and to give you these banker's drafts.
Right. If you'd like to take a seat.
One draft is for £38,000, which is for the gold bars. The second is a £10,000 deposit on the Krugerrands, which we'll pick up early next week.
Right. Well, these seem to be in order.
He signed his name as Price and gave an address in Beckenham in Kent.
Good to do business with you, and I'll contact you early next week.
Indeed, a pleasure. Let me show you to the door.
The dealer deposited the drafts at his bank. 2 days later, the bank said they were worthless. It was 2 months before the next draft came to light, in London. This time, the method and the faces were a little different. Highmore Hodson in Kensington specialises in antique clocks. It was around 4:30 on the 14th of May.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Could you tell me about this clock? Certainly, this is a mahogany pad-top bracket clock.
To the manager, Richard Wallace, there was nothing suspicious about the customer.
How much is this? It's £3,650. Well, if you'd like to write down some details for me, I'll get back to you. My name's Wall. Richard Wallace. I'll just get a card.
Mr. Wallace has since helped to make this photo fit. 9 days later, Saturday the 23rd of May at about 11. Again, it's a different man that comes to close the sale.
Banker's draft. Yes, that's fine. Thank you. Bye-bye. Good morning.
Mr. Wallace thinks he may have left in a black Ford Granada. This is the police photo fit. Another week later, the older man was looking at watches and antique duelling pistols at 2 shops in the West End.
Hello, sir.
Next day, the younger man came in for the watches.
Obviously, I'll just have to check this with the bank, sir.
Oh, right, fine. I won't be a minute. I'm just going to tell my driver I'll be longer than expected.
Okay, sir.
He didn't come back, but he moved on to the gun shop.
Fine, okay. Can I have Mr. Sherwood's address? Mr. Sherwood's a very private man. Well, the last person who gave him his number got the sack. I'm sorry, I can't release the goods without an address. He lives in Maida Vale. 319 Randolph Avenue. Thanks so much.
Simon Castle, the shopkeeper, was defrauded of £3,700.
It's all very plausible, very clever. And one of the best things they did was come in on a Friday afternoon late. Because it's always difficult to get through to a bank and get checks and drafts cleared. And then, of course, the draft itself was wrong. There were 3 main things wrong with it. There's a box. That should have been filled in. The Bishopsgate postal area, EC1, was wrong. And then it should have been typed, not handwritten. Those were the things I should have seen straight away.
Sunday, the 14th of June, a residential area in Luton. Peter Dean is a well-known painter of horses and portraits. That morning, he had a call from a man who wanted to buy some of his work.
Yes, well, let me see. I've got one of Dawn Run with John Joe O'Neill up, one of Night Nurse with John Joe O'Neill up, a large one of Dancing Brave, and a couple of others, Dujinski and Northern Dancer.
How much for all 5?
You mean you'd like to buy them without seeing them?
Yes, that's okay. I've seen your work in Dublin.
At 4:30 the following afternoon, a minicab collected a passenger from the Crest Hotel in Luton. It might have been the fraudster. It's a 10-minute ride from here to Peter Dean's studio in West Hill Road.
I've got a taxi waiting outside.
OK, well, the paintings are already parcelled as requested. Have you got the cash?
No, it's a banker's draft.
I thought you were going to pay cash.
No, banker's draft's as good as cash.
OK, that's fine. OK, I'll show you one.
Thank you.
An interesting thing I thought about afterwards is that both these men were very knowledgeable on horses. And from the way they spoke, I could tell they moved in racing circles. But they couldn't have been very knowledgeable on paintings or selling paintings, because these paintings are unique and would be very, very difficult to sell.
Frank Griffiths, they have gone for an extraordinary number of things, an extraordinary range, and they've, since that reconstruction, gone for military equipment, these boots and jumpers.
Yes, that's correct. There's very diverse types of goods. I'm sure some of them have been stolen to order, in particular the jumpers and the boots. There were 950 jumpers, over 1,200 pairs of boots, and someone, I'm sure somewhere, must have been offered a portion of those for sale in retail outlets.
Now, before we go any further, let's just warn people about these banker's drafts. There are, well, 8 of them have been recovered. This is one of them.
Yes.
That means that there are 392 still missing.
There
now,
are.
This is the crucial thing people should look out for. They're all Standard and Chartered, but that number...
The serial number.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, the 010001 to 010400, all those are missing. But presumably people should ring up the bank, in any case, Standard and Chartered at the moment, on banker's draft, should they?
Yes, I would ask any dealer who is offered a draft on the Standard Chartered Bank to check its authenticity before accepting
There is just another little clue, actually. Just on the edge, at the corner here, it says Ref Eurco. That's because these were for Europe. These were for... Where were they destined?
These were destined for Istanbul in Turkey.
So the normal ones would be as shown at the bottom there, Ref UK.
Yes, the more common one in this country would be that.
OK. Now, the people who took part, we've got some descriptions of them. If you could just take us through. This, I know, a colour photo of it. That's the one that's seen by the bullion dealer, isn't that right?
Yes, it is, yes.
Now, what about the antique shop, the one who went in to look for the clock? That's a video fit.
Yes.
And then the man who went in to collect the clock, another video fit.
Yes.
And an artist's impression. This was actually painted by Peter Dean himself, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So it's likely to be a pretty good likeness.
Yes.
Tell us about the reward.
Well, there is a reward on offer. It is quite a high sum of money for the return of the outstanding drafts and obviously the apprehension of the people in possession of them or the thieves who actually stole them in the first place.
I take it you're not giving us the precise amount of the reward for technical reasons?
No,
right?
for certain reasons I can't, but it is a large sum of money.
Right. OK, Mr Griffiths, thank you very much. If you think that you recognise any of these men, or if you've been offered any of the items we showed you, please do ring us here in the studio on 01811 8055, or contact the Heathrow Police on 01897 7373. That's 01 if you're calling from outside London, 897 7373. I might tell you, incidentally, that we've been getting a lot of calls about the murder of the jeweller in Stoke Newington, and I've been asked to ask 2 people to ring back in particular. A man who was at the bus queue outside Mr Cumler's shop. Would you please call again? And the man who rang to say that he might recognise the assailants. Actually, 3 people rang. I'm not sure which of them we're asking to call back, but please do ring us back if you didn't leave your name and telephone number and if you thought you recognised the assailants.
Well, that's all from us for now. Please do keep trying if you found it difficult to get through. Our lines are going to be open until midnight, as usual, and we'll be back with our update programme in an hour from now. That's at 11:10. All the local police numbers are on CFAX, page 186, if you have that. Or you can contact your local police direct or write to us here at Crimewatch UK, BBC Television Centre, London W12 8QT.
We're back with updates, but we're taking a summer break from the main programme. Our next programme will be in October, when we'll be back on Tuesdays, in fact the first Tuesday of each month. But there's, in fact, a Crimewatch book, which is published this week by Hodder and Stoughton in conjunction with BBC Radio. It tells you what happens after you've made calls to the programme, and it tells the stories of some of the failures and some of the successes of Crimewatch. Meanwhile, enjoy your summer, and if you're not joining us tonight for Crimewatch Update, don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.